Thank you very much. So, right about now, I'd like to please bring up on stage no other but the very Sir Alex himself, the director of RID. Please put your hands together now. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for him as he makes his way up here. The better you clap, the faster he comes.
Is my slide ready? Hello, everyone. I cannot get over the excitement every month of seeing everyone here. Like every time it beats me to see that young people are interested in this conversation. And it beats me because a couple of, I think 6 years ago, I was called to an event, to a meeting of like a career meeting, right? And they had like maybe 7 breakout sessions, different career paths, people that want to go into aeronautic engineering, people that want to do AI, and so many other career paths. And they brought me to talk to people that want to do politics and governance. And then after the general session, it was time for the breakout. And they said, if you want, you know how to do that thing. But then not one person came for the politics, and there were more than 250 people in that hall, not one person. And the organizers were so embarrassed. They came to meet me and said, we are so sorry, right? That maybe after the event, we'll give you like 5 minutes to talk to everybody, you know. And coming from that place, I see that, people turn up. I've also put together so many events, and, I was almost used to just handful of people. So I'm excited that a lot of people are interested in the conversation about this nation. So please put your hands together for yourself. Thank you for coming, and thank you for being here today. So I ensured that the program was very fast so that we'll have enough time for our conversation, because once we start, it gets really heated. I was just seeing the people I know talking with very gentle voices, people like Bishop. People, I say, so you guys have cool voice like this, because when we start to banter, right, we see a lot. In fact, the owners of this place, they always come to check what's happening in this place from time to time, because of how much noise we make. All right, so we're talking about capitalism and socialism today. And that's the means to an end. The central objective of our conversation is to find a development model that works for Nigeria. And we've had so many topics. We've talked about democracy. We've talked about so many things that point to the direction of there being a need for us to have ideology in this country. At least maybe our fathers did not have it, but our generation, we cannot continue in the same. We have to be able to have theoretical, empirical backing to how we approach governance, right? And that's something we have arrived at so many times in these meetings. So today we are talking to see which particular system of government fits Nigeria and which one each of us prefer. So for people that are new today, which I see a lot of new faces, welcome. We have a way that we do this. We're going to divide ourselves into 2 groups. That's our usual fashion. Divided based on different ideologies. So then we'll have a face-off very soon. So I'm just doing an introduction. Next slide, please. So I want to do a quick social experiment. I want 10 people to, this place is small. I want 10 people to come out quick. 10. Or should we do 5? Okay, 5 people, please. So I have 10,000 naira here, right? I can either give everyone here 2,000 naira each, or you guys would decide and compete for it, and one person will go away with 10,000 naira. Do you understand? So would you all rather take 2,000 naira and go? Meanwhile, I wanted to do this with a lot more money so that you guys will understand it better. But let's just work with this. What do you vote for? Should I give everybody 2K, or everybody compete and one person will take everything?
Let one person have it.
One person. All right. That's very good.
Same school of thoughts.
One person.
2K for everybody.
I'm in between. Okay, everybody.
Everybody.
If I'm going to answer based on the context of this conversation, I would say we compete for it.
Compete for it. Very good. So 3 people want to compete for it, and 2 people say we're actually going to compete for it, and then 1 person go with it. But before we go on with that, I think we already get the idea. All right, let's introduce the terms for people, a few people, for some of the terms we're going to be using today, for people that might not have read it before. So capitalism, of course, is an economic system of government where private individuals or business own and run the means of production, right? I'm sure we're already familiar with it. Factories, tools, land. It's a system of government where businesses are left alone by the government to do and undo, to create wealth and make money, and live la vida local, right? Socialism is a political philosophy based on the idea that society, resource, and major industries like healthcare, energy, transport should be owned and or regulated by the public as a whole, rather than by the private individuals. So socialism is where instead of one person owning means of production, owning businesses, where the public, and by public we mean the government, right? Where the government own and run everything. They control all the resources, come to the government, and then they disburse in the society across people. So we have meritocracy, which is in the family of the capitalism. It promotes the ideals that everyone, regardless of their background, can achieve success if they work hard and possess the right capacities. This sounds like the United States dream statement, right? Meritocracy, just like what happened today. Just like what happened with this demonstration, instead of just sharing the money among people that don't know, that don't know those people, compete for it. Somebody competed and won everything. So literally, that's what meritocracy. Then we have utilitarianism. Now God go help me. Hey, God, oh. You don't get Yoruba. Utilitarianism. Hey, you people read it. Thank you. Utilitarianism. All right. What you guys said. A consequentialist ethics theory stating that the most moral action is the one that maximizes overall happiness. So it's the idea where the most happiness is what is termed as ethical, or what is good, like the common good. So it's where the end is the focus, right? It means it doesn't matter what happened. If more people, just like this description, if everybody had gotten 2K, everybody would have been happy, right? Unlike, it's only one person that is smiling when they left here. Right, next slide, please. Then free markets. Free market is where the economic system and the prices and production of goods and services are determined by the law of supply and demand. So, for example, free markets would nobody who is a businessman would take hospital to a village. They won't. Your profit is going to be very limited, right? So it's determined by the profit and loss. Businesses are able to do research and determine how they want to do business, what is most profitable, and they pursue it. They don't care about whether it benefits the most people or not, right? Read the next one. Correct. It's French for let it be. It's where government leaves businesses to thrive and to grow. Recently, we heard that we now have a trillionaire in USD, right? Yeah, I know. It dropped, but there's a level of liberty that can allow you accumulate such wealth unregulated, right? That is what this. Then we have nationalization, where the government. This happened not too long ago in Nigeria, where the government can take over a business and make it a government domain. Then redistribution, right, where governments through taxation, would collect money from the rich and give it to the poor. Next slide, please. So let's also examine some biblical concepts, right? And these are some of the theories that, if you Google it, you won't find it anywhere, especially the names, right? I compounded those theories. So socialist manna. Remember when the children of Israel are on Exodus to the promised land, and God was supplying them manna, right? It was purely a socialist arrangement where you can only take what you want, what you can eat that moment. Right? If you take excess, it's going to spoil it's going to get spoiled by maybe the next day, and you can only take what you need for the next day on the Sabbath, because you don't get food on the Sabbath. So it was purely a socialist system, right? Where there is nobody that is amazing. Imagine that manna was just falling. You'll start to see clique. There will already be capitalists that would have boys that will gather everything. And some people will not get at all, right? You will now have to come and maybe trade your clothes or your slippers, and then they will now have slaves. That's also God literally operated a socialist where everybody was on the middle class, right? Another Bible concept that might, just before you conclude that God is a socialist, right? The talent capitalism. We see the parable of the talent where the master gave talent to people and said, go and do business. And the person that got the most applaud were people that traded it and got profit. Right? If you understand what business means, business primary objective is to make profit. It's not an NGO. They are not looking for impacts. They just want to make profit. And a lot of time they might trample on the rights of the poor, the rights of the people. But business is business. Profit is the objective of business. And then the parable of the talent demonstrated that that the Bible is also capitalist in nature. Then the next one is the koinonia. Hey, wow. Don't worry, just today I've not eaten well. That's why. Or stage fright. Koinonia economics, right? In Acts 2, 44 and 45, we saw the early church, right, where the Bible said they had things in common. And people that had lands and people that were wealthy would go and sell their land just so that they can distribute it evenly. And that's what led to the death of Ananias and Sapphira when they lied about. So they were operating a socialist. The church community started as a socialist group where people were all on the same. There was no class system, right? And before you make any conclusion, the next one again, the righteousness enterprise economics, Proverbs 31. The very popular Proverb 31 that we usually quote for women, or that women quote for themselves. A Proverb 31 woman is somebody, if you read, that says a woman that is of noble character, that trades, that buys field, plants vineyards, sell linen garments, sell belts, right? So that is also purely capitalism, for you to be able to buy land. In a capitalist, on the extreme of the capitalism of socialism, you can't even own land, right? There are some countries in the world right now that it's illegal to own property. You cannot own a land or own a building. Those communist society, right? So this is. Can we go to the next slide? All right, and on. There are several examples. Because of time, I can just skip all of them. You guys can. You'll get the slide on the community group. Please, next slide. All right. So let's examine these pictures, right? The capitalism try to depict wealth distributed and people living well and doing fine, right? But the next one that shows socialism shows people in red, living in poverty. So this picture is trying to depict that socialism is commonly equality of poverty, right, rather than equality of resources. And the reason why is because socialism promises equality and says that equality creates justice, but equality without productivity can become shared poverty. And there's no competition, there's no innovation when government is giving handouts. When it's a socialist system, people are able to, just get money. There's no competition, right? So that naturally kills people. That's what this is. The next slide, please. But then, on the other hand, this picture depicts that capitalism, if not checked, would only empower the what they call them now. No, there's a word I'm looking for. All right, I'll remember it. So it only empowers the elites, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Bourgeoisie, thank you. Right, only empowers them, and then they don't necessarily care. A lot of capitalists will say they care about the people, but if you ask them at the core of it, what is primary for you? Making profit or helping people is making profit. If you ask them, try it, would you rather pay your staff more and take less, and the company hold on to less? They will say they want to maximize profits and pay less. But when you now ask that, do you want the staff to do more work, turn out more workload, or do less? They want. So capitalism will always, and then socialism promises this equity. Right? Freedom without fairness or regulation can become exploitative. Next slide, please. So now, if you study this picture where it says equal distribution, so imagine that this cake, and look at the other one that somebody has all of it, and then the others have just trickles of it. So imagine that this cake is healthcare, is education, housing, transport, basic welfare. So it means that one person has it all. One person has a lot of it, access to a lot, and a lot of people don't. Like we see in regular societies, right, where there is wealth, concentrated with just a few people, and the masses don't really have more. But then next slide, we'll now show the other side. This says, capitalism says that the bread is lined up waiting for people, while socialism says people are lined up waiting for bread, right? There's also now the balance of exclusivity, right? Would the rich want to queue for healthcare, want to be a part of the housing program, want to be part of the basic welfare? So there's also the element of, and I hope you understand where I'm trying to divide the line so that we see. Next slide, please. So, but again, they both have some similarities. And from this picture, we can see this literally depicts South Africa, which is one of the most unequal society in the world. Not one of the most actually unequal society in the world, right? But this works both ways. Socialism and capitalism, they all have some things in common. And one of the things they have in common is that they actually all have good intention. They are primarily all about improving the lives of the people. But one other thing that they have in common is that they all have potential to be exploited, to exploit the masses, right? This image can be capitalism, it can be socialism. It's just that the wealthy people on this side will be the government or the people in charge of distributing resources, or the capitalists, right? But they all have potential to be exploited, right? Next slide, please. Next slide, please. All right, so we're going to answer only 2 questions primarily today. And one of it is that, where do you stand? Are you a capitalist or a socialist? And the other question is, how do we bring it home and apply it to Nigeria? What, from your opinion, do you think will work from Nigeria from the analysis? So Nigeria, like I penned down, is a very funny country, right? We are neither capitalists nor socialists. I think we are survivalists, right? We are just whatever primarily makes today work, and makes today work is what we do, right? So there's a lot of confusion, not even with the government and with the people, right? With a lot of us, because when we are buying, right? When we are buying, we want the government, we want socialism, we want the government to regulate. Why is the fuel so expensive? Why is the government not doing anything about it? Why is landlord able to just increase rent anyhow? Why is the government not doing anything about it? But when we are selling, we want to capitalize. We want government to leave us alone, to determine how much we sell our goods, to reduce regulation. So even within us, we want to eat our cake and have it. We want to have it both ways, right? So the truth is that most Nigerians are not purely capitalists or socialists. We are survivalists. I said already. Next slide, please. So 2 questions, like I said. Which ideology do you prefer, and which model can actually help Nigeria? These are the two questions we are having. And we're going to, in our usual format, divide ourselves into three groups. While I was talking, our guest arrived. Please, I want you to help me celebrate my Egbon in the house, Samson Utodo. Welcome and thank you. Thank you for being here today. I mean, it was a sacrifice, and I know that it was a big sacrifice for you to be here today. It was just speaking in Lagos yesterday, spoke somewhere today. Thank you very much for coming. All right, so quickly, let me see your hand. Are you a capitalist? Do you believe that there should be no regulation from government, allow businesses, allow for free markets, allow businesses to thrive? If that's where you stand, let me see your hand. Capitalism. Very well, now be proud of your stand. 2. Yes. One or the other. For the sake of, okay, I also have to establish that there is hardly any country that is 100% capitalist or socialist, right? It is usually a mix of the two, but one is just primary, more prominent. Singapore is the country noted to be the most capitalist state. But if you check their books well, one of the biggest company that has shares in almost all the major infrastructure is the government, owned by the government. So yes, they are capitalists, but they are still involved. They still control literally most. So there is no country that is 100%, but it's just so nobody should try to be in the middle, right? I know you have some element of one of the other, but which do you favor over the other? Capitalism. All right, please stand up. I want the capitalists to be on this side. Where's my last slide? Last slide. No, I'm the only one that can be neutral in this place. And our guest. Last slide. Freedom, capital. Oh, let's be fast now. We don't have time more. But you guys already know how we do this thing now. Yeah, this way.